welcome back to another video with That's Awkward ASMR. My name is Tatiana, and today I'm going to be talking about the Steam Deck. Buckle up. Before we jump in though, I just want to say thank you so much to the members of the channel for the month of March. Your support is directly helping me be able to make these videos, and I appreciate it so much. So big thank yous to Anna4 for being a dumpling for 15 months. Thank you so much. Big shout out to CryptoKed for being a sleepy dumpling for 12 months. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Big shout out to Neotono for being a dumpling for 11 months. Almost your 1 year badge. You almost got it. Thank you so much, Neotono. Max B, thank you so much for being a sleepy dumpling for 10 months. You are also very close to your 1 year. Thank you so much. And Mateos, thank you so much for being a sleepy dumpling for 23 days. You're almost at 1 month. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. If you want to become a member, feel free to press the join button. Memberships are actually getting a bit of an upgrade really soon, but I will make that announcement very soon. Members already kind of know what I'm talking about, and I'm excited for it. So yeah, thank you so much, and let's go ahead and jump into the video. Now, I've only had my Steam Deck for technically 3 months now, but I've actually only had it in my possession for about 2 months, and that's because I was sent a broken Steam Deck. That's right, they sent it broken, and instead of just replacing it, which I feel like usually if you buy a device from a store, for example, and it comes broken out the box, you just go get a replacement. Steam didn't want to give me a replacement. They wanted to repair what they gave me, so it kind of feels like I got a refurbished item for full price, so that felt kind of weird. And then also, when it went for this repair, it took 3.5 weeks. I had it for 3 days before sending it in. It was the right bumper was basically like popped up, like not secured into the device properly. Or the left bumper, if I said right, I'm sorry, it's the left bumper. The left bumper was popped up, the right bumper was totally fine, and it was basically getting worse even though I was just going through like menus and games with that button. So I sent it back immediately, 3 days after I got it, contacted them and everything, sent it back. 3.5 weeks later it comes back, and not only did they tell me they repaired the button, which they kind of did, and it still has a travel on it and makes a louder click noise than the other side. It still doesn't feel super secure. They also said that they, for some reason, changed out a wire in my D-pad, and now the left side of my D-pad is crunchy. Like, it's not a smooth press. Sometimes it is, but normally it's a bit crunchy. The other up, right, and down don't do that. So it's been super frustrating, to say the least, with my Steam Deck. Like, at least that aspect of it and dealing with Steam was really frustrating. If you just are putting Steam games on the deck, it's easy because you just download your Steam games. But for me, I also wanted to do things like play xCloud, remote play my PlayStation 5, play Epic Games, get the Epic Games launcher on there. There's a lot more that I wanted to do, and those things take a bit of like typing in code and stuff. I have a whole playlist I'll leave for you guys in case you decide to get a Steam Deck. Then you can use it and use the like tutorials that I've had to use, but it's been interesting so far. So as much as I've had a frustrating time with the software and a whole multitude of bugs that I still seem to be discovering every single day with this device, that it seems like multiple people have also experienced it, because I always almost immediately find an answer to my question. Not always how to fix it, but I always seem to find other people having these issues almost immediately when you Google it. So that's been frustrating, but as much as it's been frustrating to have this Steam Deck, it's also been super awesome for the times that it is working and everything is smooth. It's a great experience. So I'm going to kind of give you my whole feelings on it. We'll start with like hardware and talk about software and stuff. There's literally so many things that I could talk about. This video almost always runs to about 60 minutes or more. Yes, I've recorded this video. I think it's 8 times. Oh, it's actually more. I think it's almost 11 times, because I would go into the whole story about the replacement of the deck and not getting it, getting like a refurbished one basically, and like I would get mad. So we're gonna try and rein it in. I'm gonna try and just talk about my experience and why I love the deck, but also as much as I love it, I kind of hate it. You guys also asked me some questions, so I'm going to go ahead and answer those as well as we go along. So the first thing I want to talk about, which actually leads into the first question you guys asked, was how heavy is the deck? So the official weight for the deck will be right up here, but actually holding it, it doesn't feel super heavy to me. It's obviously heavier than a Switch, because a Switch, let's face it, it's basically an Android tablet with controllers on the side. I mean, it's not super heavy. I've never had really bad cramping in my neck and shoulders, which is actually saying something, because I have had an injury to my neck and shoulders. I've had very severe whiplash twice in 1 year to my neck. So I do have issues with my neck, and holding things for long periods of time can cause cramping. But I've never had that experience with the deck. Now, I do usually sit upright, like on a couch, or I'm reclined, like half laying down on the couch. One thing I never do is lay on my back and hold it above my face. I feel like I would probably, my arms would get tired if I was holding it like that, because it's just only your arms holding it. I also would be afraid holding it that way, because if I dropped it on my face, I'd need a new face. Like, it is obviously heavier than something like a Switch, because that's, again, it's like an Android tablet. It does not have the same components as this portable PC does. So it's definitely different. I wouldn't hold it above your face like that. But I haven't had any issues that stand out. The only time I've had cramping is from like mashing the B button, because it's in a similar spot as the A button on like the Switch or something, if that makes sense. Like, it's up in the corner, so mashing that button, I do get thumb cramps. But other than that, I haven't really like cramped too much where I'm like super uncomfortable and find it to be heavy. I actually also really like I think it's the width of the deck, like how long it is. My hands don't have to go so close together, and I actually find it just to be more comfortable, just to sit and have that extra length between my hands. Actually, I think helps with the cramping. So I do like that. I don't find it too heavy. I know a lot of people say it's too big and too heavy, but I think it's pretty good. One thing I don't like about one physical thing I don't like about the Steam Deck is the screen is really dull. Like, I don't need an OLED in mine, but I do find that it was just like the saturation was turned down. So there's actually a plugin that I was able to get and turn the saturation up, and it actually like helped out tremendously, and now it looks great. Like, I have no issues with my screen at all. Even though the resolution's weird, I don't have an issue with it at all. I don't mind the bezels and everything. It works great. I'm pretty content with it. One thing I absolutely love, actually, before we move on from the physical deck, is the trackpads. I thought I wouldn't like them. I thought they were going to be like gimmicky, if that makes sense. But they're actually awesome and like super useful for stuff like when you're emulating Wii games and like you need to use a cursor in a game. They're so helpful. So definitely love them. They have haptic feedback, and I love them so much. I actually couldn't imagine not having them on the deck. I actually use them way more than I would like to admit. Another question that was asked is, are there a lot of customization options and like changing buttons, quick actions? Yes. Every single game you can do a complete and total change of your buttons, even for like games that are primarily played on PC. As long as it says is verified for deck, even playable, you just have to read. Like, sometimes it's about text being small. It's not about control issues, but so playable or like verified, like it'll work on deck. Usually the controls are perfectly fine. Something else that's cool about the controls, so they have like Valve or like the official developer made like they think these are the best controls, you can always change those. You could make your own brand new ones for every single button on the Steam Deck. Or you could even go to the community like little tab and you can choose ones other people have made. I've made some even for some games. And then you're able to kind of have as much control over how you play as you want. Or if you want to see what other people made and just use that, you can do that as well. So yeah, a lot of options. You can do literally almost anything with your button options, which is awesome. And I know I've changed mine up for quite a few different games, just for what feels best for me and like using the back buttons and stuff. So yeah, there's a ton of options. I'm glad to report. Another question actually that one of you guys asked is there a way to play it on a TV like a Switch? Yes, they actually have an official dock for the Steam Deck. I actually just got that. I had a third-party one before, but I was kind of suspicious about how fast it was charging the deck. The deck, I think it's 45 watts. I don't remember. I'll put it up on the screen, what the wattage is, but it needs a high amount of watts, and I didn't want to like mess it up, so I do have the official dock now, and I've just started using it. I've had issues with it, I'm not gonna lie. Like, if it's plugged into your deck and the deck goes to sleep and you go back to like turn it on, it basically like my deck won't like recognize that it's been plugged into the Steam Deck. Like, it's been there for hours plugged in, and it will be like, yeah, there's no Steam Deck. So I have to unplug and plug it in. The third party one didn't do that. So I've noticed that is an issue already with the official one, which is frustrating to have more issues with something out the box from Steam. But maybe, I don't know, maybe that's just how it's going to be between me and Steam. But that was super frustrating, but it can dock. You just plug in the USB-C cable, and then kind of like the Switch dock, you just kind of like plug in an HDMI and its power button. You're good to go. They also have like Ethernet ports, display ports, because again, you can use this as an entire PC, because that's what it is. It's a PC. So, yeah, you can do stuff like that on it as well. You can even edit videos on it. Like, it's straight up like a whole PC. So that's awesome. You can even hook up multiple monitors. So yeah, that is something you can do. And it actually is a huge pro for me. You guys know, because I'm used to that Switch kind of form factor of being able to take it with me, putting it in the TV. I do the same thing with the Steam Deck. I'll take it with me and then I'll go and put it in for, in the deck for, or dock, sorry, for charging and things like that. When I'm not playing it, or even while I'm playing it. A really cool thing about the battery for the deck actually is if your battery dies, let's say, and you plug it in and you want to keep playing, don't worry, your battery's safe. Apparently the deck will start pulling from the power of the wall or the power brick that it's plugged into and just charge the battery in the background. So you're actually not like doing all that wear and tear on your battery all the time, which I thought was pretty awesome, and definitely was a relief to me, because sometimes that battery dies pretty quick and you're going to want to plug it in. I find for indie games, I get a good 6 hours, 7 hours out of the deck. If it's a AAA game or like a AA game, like I play Dreamlight Valley on there sometimes, that's like an hour and 30 minutes, 2 hours on a good day. So definitely battery life can be an issue, but I don't run into that issue too often. The fan, I find, is not too loud for me. Again, I don't play a ton of AAAs on it. It's anything from indies to like AA games. So it doesn't kick up too much. Once my brother and I did play Teardown on it and had like explosions and stuff, really trying to like push the Steam Deck. And actually it was running it pretty well, had some stutters. But it was pretty good, ran it at 60 frames, and the fan did kick in really high, like to the point where I was like, this thing may catch fire. It didn't. Everything was fine. It didn't even get as hot as I thought it would. And the fan did kick up, but after the explosion stopped, it would go back down. So I haven't had any issues because I don't play, again, games even like Teardown with that much like graphical intensity. So Yeah, I haven't had an issue with my fan actually, which is nice because if it gets loud, it would bother me for sure. So I'm sorry if anyone else is experiencing that. Something else I also want to talk about are the back buttons real quick. They're awesome. They're super comfortable, and sometimes I just like to click them because I just like to. Like, I don't use them for every game, but I do like to click them just because they feel nice, and the deck feels really good in your hand overall. Like, if we're gonna wrap up the physical aspect of the deck, it feels very comfortable in the hand, and even though the sticks are both like, I believe it's parallel from each other, like side by side, it's not too uncomfortable. And you get a really good grip on the deck and like really have a good hold on it with the way the button layout is. So that's really good. I think that's it for the physical deck. I think that's all I got. We can start talking about like the software, which it's been rough. It's been rough. I feel like, you know what? I'll just run you through some of the things I've dealt with, and then that will be it. It's just not ready yet, it feels like. No, it's also not very user friendly at all. You have to do a lot of troubleshooting on games. It's not like, for lack of a better example, it's not like on even a PC or like a console where you just, even the Switch, where you download the game and you turn it on and you're good to go. The Steam Deck usually, not on every game, but usually you'll have to do some tinkering around with, especially if you want good battery life and performance, you'll have to change around the frames per second. You'll have to change around the proton layers, which is something I don't even really know how to explain, but it's like these layers of something, and then you choose one, and some of them are good for your game and some of them aren't. I don't even know how to explain it. I just follow the tutorials and try and figure it out. Generally, if something says it's Steam Deck verified, you're usually okay, and don't have to do too much, but I find most times I'm having to go and for sure changing resolution settings for the games, which isn't too bad because you can actually do that per game. So this is actually a positive in the software, is that on the right side, there's a button with 3 dots. If you click that button, it'll open up a side panel where you can see things like your battery life. So you can actually see per game how much battery life you're using. You can see, you can customize how bright your screen is, your audio up, and how loud it is. You can see a whole bunch of stats like on PCs where you see your GPU and everything. And you can change per profile your screen tearing. You can do a whole bunch of stuff like your frames per second. Most games I find that if they get graphically heavy run great in 45 frames per second, and then changing some settings in the game like your shadows or stuff can always help the deck run better. So yeah, but you do have to put all that work into play. So it's nice that there's that much customizability, but there's also, if you want games to just open and work, the Steam Deck is like not going to be something you're going to enjoy because you do have to play around with it. But once things work and you set it up, chef's kiss, you can bring PC games anywhere. I'm hoping now that I've actually found a plugin called Cryo Utilities. I believe the person, they don't work with Steam. I think they used to work on Linux or something like that. I don't know, there's some story about this person, but they put this plugin up and it has fixed so many people's decks, and at least it doesn't crash as much, and it is a little more reliable when you go to play games and stuff. So that's been awesome, and that has stabilized to a degree. It is still super unstable. Honestly, a lot of people in the Steam Deck community have been so helpful. Some are not, some are really rude and just assume because they know something everyone should know it, which is really strange behavior, but that does happen. So you'll get the odd, maybe response to you asking a question, or you'll see the responses, but a majority of people are trying to help, especially new users to Linux, like figure out what to do and how to do things, which has been actually really nice that at least that help is there, even though the support in that way for the deck isn't there yet. Another thing I absolutely love about the deck is emulation, which is something I thought I would not like at all. But it's actually been, I think, almost one of my favorite things is being able to experience games, some for the first time because I had them and never got a chance to like play them, or I've had them and haven't been able to play them for a very long time. Getting to play them on the Steam Deck has been incredible, and being able to just plug in these games like into the TV and just sitting there playing like it's old school, like, you know, Xbox or something, like that's been incredible and so nostalgic. And honestly, one of my favorite parts of the deck, which I wasn't even sure I was going to try it, but it's actually been really nice to play your childhood games again. So I've definitely made the deck my priority gaming device, just because I want to really like use this thing as much as I can. And I love my Switch, but honestly, I wanted a Steam Deck because my Switch just felt like it was showing its age, which is kind of funny considering how badly the Steam Deck has been performing for me up until 2 weeks ago when I got that utilities plugin. Now that I've had that, I've actually finished, I think, 3 whole games on the Steam Deck, so that's been really awesome. But yeah, it's definitely like the Switch was showing its age. There were games I was getting that were like 2D games that were like stuttering, having so many issues. Like it seems like every time games come out, the Switch is the worst version of the game because it's getting old and it's getting, I think, it's more difficult for developers to develop on. And I've noticed most games go to Steam first. Steam has cheaper sales, so it's really cool to have so many sales happening. I've actually bought so many games for $4 recently. It's insane. And I'm able to get them because they're only $4, like waiting for sales. I wishlist like everything so I can always get notifications about games. But being able to like, oh look, that's on sale. Like I wanted to play that, getting it, and then like I think I've played Little Gator Game was like I think $12 or something. That game has been iconic. We're gonna have a review on this channel. My sister's played it as well. It's so much fun. But like playing that on my deck has been great. Like it's brought back that excitement for portable gaming again that I started losing with the Switch, just because it is a lot older and things are the worst version on it every time. So being able to have the deck and have that ability to play games or have games run better when you get them to run, because that's the caveat with the deck, is when you get it to run and it does run well, it's fantastic. And that's why I love the deck. As much as I've hated all of these issues that it has and the unfinishedness, the fact it feels like I got a refurbished one, all of that stuff, like if you removed it, this would be like the best thing that I own, you know, out of my gaming setup, just because it's so versatile in what I'm able to do. I've played Epic Games on it through the Epic Games launcher. They were great. I've played Ooblets on it, which I had on PC. And yeah, it's just been a really great experience from the gaming side when things work. So that's it. I hope this wasn't too negative. I hope it wasn't too rambly. I'm sorry. It's kind of like, this will be more like a podcast kind of episode. Not too many like visual things I can put up, but yeah, I'm sorry if the video was rushed or didn't have something you wanted. I can try to answer more questions down below if you guys have more. But I just wanted to get this out. I've been avoiding the video because of all the issues I had, and I didn't want to just sit here and be like, I hate the deck and like crap on the deck, because I don't hate the deck. It's like, it just is so frustrating. It has so many issues, and like even my sister was thinking about getting one, but now that she's just seen how difficult it's been for me to get the thing to run and she's seen it crash on me and run slow and not, you know, sometimes like inputs don't work on some games, like especially when you have a controller, because the controller actually Bluetooth, like it drops. We've just had so many issues that she's like, yeah, I wouldn't get one of those now, which is unfortunate because I think the Steam Deck could have been something really awesome for like more even casual users. But yeah, I don't know. As much as I love it, I hate it. But I do love it. Like I really do. I don't want you guys to think I don't like the deck because I have it and use it all the time. Like I do. It's just, you know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any more questions about the deck that I didn't answer, let me know down below. And as always, thank you much for your support. Remember to stay safe and have sweet, sweet dreams of gaming.